The August sun is a merciless white disk over Paris. It is 14:00 hours, August 18th, 1944. The air, trapped between the high limestone facades of the 6th arrondissement, smells of hot dust, diesel exhaust, and something metallic and sour. The city holds its breath. 4 years of occupation have pressed the life from its boulevards, leaving only the sharp, rhythmic echo of hobnailed boots on pavement. Shutters are drawn. Bicycles, not automobiles, are the dominant sound, their tires hissing over the gritty streets. Near the Odeon Theatre, a German patrol, a 6-man strife from the 325 Sicherungsdivision, passes an empty boulangerie. They are sweating, their grey-green wool uniforms dark with perspiration, their rifles slung with an air of bored menace. From an attic window 3 stories above, Luc Girard watches them pass. He does not move. His breathing is shallow, practiced. At 32, his hands are those of a craftsman, steady, pale, with skin worn thin over the knuckles. He is a watchmaker and horloger by trade. His shop on the Rue Bonaparte, specializing in marine chronometers and intricate optical repairs, was requisitioned by the Kriegsmarine 2 years prior. Now his tools are simpler. His world is this dusty, stifling attic, the territory of spiders and forgotten furniture draped in white shrouds. He has been motionless for an hour, charting the patrol's timing, noting the precise angle of the sun as it begins its descent toward the Seine. A glint of light reflecting off the polished steel of a soldier's helmet causes him to flinch, an involuntary reaction, quickly suppressed. In his pocket, his fingers graze a small, hard object wrapped in oilcloth. The city is a powder keg. Allied armies are sweeping across Normandy. The resistance, the Forces Françaises de l'Intérieur, FFI, has received the call. Barricades are being planned in cellars. Weapons, long hidden, are being wiped clean of grease. But here, in this specific sector controlled by the Kommandantur at the Hôtel Meurice, German command is centralized, organized, and deeply entrenched. The officers coordinating the defense, the men who know the mortar placements, the ammunition depots, and the routes for the panzers stationed in the Luxembourg Gardens, are insulated by layers of checkpoints and reinforced concrete. Luc's small FFI cell, designated Sector 7 Odeon, is tasked with observation. They are to watch, to report, and to wait. But waiting, Luc knows, feels exactly like dying. The patrol turns the corner. The sound of their boots fades. Luc allows himself a slow exhale, the dust motes dancing in the single shaft of light illuminating his post. He is not a soldier. He is a man of precision, of tolerances measured in microns, of patience learned from staring through a jeweler's loupe at mechanisms finer than a human hair. He looks at the Kommandantur annex across the square, a fortress of sandbags and machine gun nests. He looks at the sun. He looks at the shadows, and for the first time he doesn't see a building. He sees a clockwork, and he is searching for the flaw in its mainspring. The air is still. The neutrality of the moment is a physical weight, the heavy calm before the inevitable violent storm of the uprising. He shifts his focus, moving from the attic's heat to the cellar's damp chill. He meets Sophie, his sister, who manages the cell's clandestine radio set, and their leader, Antoine, a grizzled veteran of the Great War, whose face is a roadmap of cynicism. They huddle around a map marked with German positions. Another patrol. Same schedule, Luc reports, his voice flat. Antoine grunts, tracing a red line with a grease pencil. They are reinforcing the telephone exchange. We cannot get close. We wait for Leclerc. That is the order. Sophie looks up from her logbook. Orders from London say harass and disrupt. They don't say wait. It is then that the event occurs. Not an explosion, but a flash of light. From their cellar viewport, angled just so, Luke catches it. A German staff car, a dark Mercedes, pulls up to the Kommandantur. A high-ranking Hauptmann steps out. He adjusts his cap, looks up at a fourth-floor window of the opposite building, a known Wehrmacht barracks, and pulls a small object from his breast pocket. He angles it toward the sun. Flash, flash, pause, flash. A precise, coded signal. From the fourth-floor window, an identical signal flashes in response. The Hauptmann nods, satisfied, and enters the building. It is a standard optical relay confirmation, a blinkerette, a small heliograph, confirming his arrival and the all-clear status of the route. Luke freezes. He has seen this before, but never paid it mind. It was just background noise. Now he sees it for what it is, a system built on absolute trust. The Germans, masters of encryption and radio discipline, still rely on the oldest signal of all, reflected light. It is secure, silent, and unjammable, and in that moment it is utterly vulnerable. He looks at Sophie. They trust that signal, he whispers, a strange intensity in his eyes. He touches the cloth-wrapped object in his pocket. What if that signal came from somewhere else? What if we were the ones flashing? Antoine doesn't look up from the map. Don't be a fool. That's for signals battalions. What Luke didn't know, what none of them could know, was that this simple observation, this flicker of light, would soon dismantle the entire district's command structure. The tactical problem facing the FFI in Paris during the third week of August 1944 is one of catastrophic asymmetry. Field reports from FFI Command, later archived as Document 303B, Analyse des forces ennemies, Secteur Paris, detail the German order of battle. General der Infanterie Dietrich von Koltitz, the military governor, commands the Gross Paris garrison, numbering approximately 20 Usaran troops. This force is composed of elements from the 325 Sicherungsdivision, various Luftwaffe ground crews repurposed as infantry, and critically, several veteran panzer detachments. The city is divided into Stützpunkte, or strongpoints, the Hotel Meurice, the Kriegsmarine headquarters at the Château de la Muette, the École Militaire, and the telephone exchanges are fortified with concrete, barbed wire, and heavy machine guns, specifically the MG-42, a weapon for which the FFI has no counterpart. The FFI, in contrast, numbers nearly 30, 000, but these are paper strengths. In reality, they are a civilian army. Their armory consists of weapons captured in 1940, hunting rifles, antiquated Liebel carbines, and a precious few British-dropped Sten guns. Ammunition is counted in rounds per man, not in crates. A captured FFI after-action report for Sector 7 notes the grim arithmetic: assessment of 18 August, 110 rifles, 14 automatic pistols, 2 light machine guns, status unreliable, and 40 kilograms of commercial explosive. German strongpoint Odeon Annex is defended by 4 heavy MGs, 2 50mm mortars, and an estimated 80-man platoon. Direct assault is deemed suicidal. The problem is not manpower, it is firepower and coordination. The true centers of gravity for the German defense are not the conscripts on the barricades, they are the officers inside the Kommandantur. These men, majors, captains, and signal specialists, are the brain. They coordinate the counterattacks. They direct mortar fire onto FFI barricades. They dispatch the panzers that can obliterate a resistance-held building in minutes. As long as this command and control network functions, the FFI can only achieve tactical nuisance, not strategic victory. The officers are untouchable, moving between buildings via secure tunnels or in armed convoys. To eliminate them one by one through conventional sniping is impossible. Their schedules are irregular, and they rarely present a clear target. The FFI's mission is to paralyze the German response before the main Allied columns arrive. But the very men they must target are the most well-protected. This data translates directly into human suffering. The statistics on paper are written in blood on the streets. On August 19th, as the uprising officially begins, an FFI group in Sector 7 attempts a frontal assault on the telephone exchange. The results are filed under Lessons Learned. The attack is stalled by a single MG-42 emplacement. Site start. Within 3 minutes, 9 resistance fighters are cut down on the open pavement. Site 3. Their bodies lie in the August heat for hours, a stark reminder of the technological gap. Morale is a fragile resource. The elation of the uprising is quickly soured by the smell of cordite and the realization of their inadequacy. The FFI fighters are brave, but bravery is a poor defense against 200 rounds per minute. The air is thick with the exhaustion of a city under siege from within. Fighters grab sleep in shifts, their faces slick with sweat and grime. The sound of sporadic, distant gunfire is constant, a backdrop to the tension. The human cost is measured in the silence of families hiding in cellars, in the dwindling supplies of water and bread, and in the growing fear that the Allies will not come in time. Hitler's order to leave Paris a field of rubble is known. Every German officer in the Kommandantur is a man capable of carrying out that order. Experts in the FFI command, veterans of 1940, look at the maps, at the German strongpoints, and at their own meagre supplies. The officers are safe. The Kommandantur cannot be breached. The experts agreed. It couldn't be done. If you believe that ingenuity can overcome impossible odds, follow this story. Luc Girard was not born a warrior. He was born on March 12, 1912, in the 6th arrondissement, the son and grandson of watchmakers. His world from childhood was one of meticulous, quiet obsession. He was a small, focused boy who preferred the intricate gears of a broken clock to the rough and tumble of the street. His father's shop, Girard et Fils, Horlogers, was a dim, quiet place that smelled of brass polish, cleaning solvents, and old wood. It was there he learned the tyranny of patience. He learned how a single misplaced grain of dust, a microscopic burr on a gear tooth, could halt the most complex machine. He learned to see the world through a loop, magnified 20 times, where the smallest movements were acts of profound significance. His true passion, however, was optics. While his father worked on chronometers, Luc was drawn to the repair of binoculars, sextants, and delicate eyeglasses. He taught himself to grind small lenses, to calculate focal lengths, to understand how light could be bent, focused, and reflected. He saw light not as illumination, but as a medium, a tool as precise as any caliper. His hands, accustomed to handling tweezers that held screws invisible to the naked eye, developed a steadiness that was almost inhuman. He was quiet, introspective, and possessed a mind that saw systems in everything. When the war came in 1939, he was deemed unfit for service, a slight tremor in his left hand, imperceptible to most, but a disqualifier for the army. He remained in Paris, repairing rangefinders for the French artillery until the fall. The occupation changed him. It was not a sudden conversion, but a slow erosion. He watched the Wehrmacht requisition his neighbors' apartments. He saw the quiet humiliations, the small tyrannies that composed the daily reality of occupation. His shop was seized in 1942 to repair Kriegsmarine optics. This, for Luke, was the final offense. They had taken his craft, his tools, his world of precision, and turned it toward their own ends. He joined the resistance not as a man of violence, but as a man of systems. He saw the German war machine not as an invincible, monolithic beast, but as just another complex mechanism. And like any machine, it had tolerances, it had flaws, it had points of failure. His mind, trained to find the single grain of dust in the clockwork, now scanned the German presence in his city, searching for the equivalent. The crazy idea solidifies in the damp cellar. Luke retrieves the object from his pocket. He unwraps the oilcloth. It is a piece of a woman's compact mirror, shattered. He has kept a single triangular shard, about 2 inches long. He wrapped the edges in bicycle inner tube rubber to protect his fingers. "Antoine," Luke says, his voice low, "I saw the Hauptmann signal to the barracks, a standard blink-jurette confirmation." Antoine glares at him. "So? It is military procedure." Luke holds up the mirror shard. "It's a call and response. They trust it. They trust it more than the radio. I know the code. I've been watching them. Flash, flash, pause, flash. Move to secondary rally point. Flash. Dadum, pause. Flash, flash. All clear. It's simple." Antoine stares at the piece of glass as if Luke is insane. "And what? You will blink at them?" Luke nods. "From a new position, an unsecured location, an alley off the Rue de Vaugirard, a place they think is a new German OP. Sophie grasps the idea immediately. "You lure them out." "Exactly," Luke says, "one by one. We signal an urgent officers-only briefing at a new location. We signal it using their own code, from a direction they trust. They won't send a squad. They'll come alone, maybe with an adjutant. They'll walk right into an ambush." Antoine slams his hand on the table, the map jumping. "That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You think a Wehrmacht Hauptmann is a fool. They'll see the flash. They'll use a rangefinder. They will triangulate your position in 30 seconds and put a mortar round through your roof. You will expose this entire cell for nothing." Luke's voice remains calm, precise. "No, they won't. The signal is the trust. They won't question their own procedure. Not at first. They will assume it's their own signals man. It's a flaw in their system. The human element. They are arrogant." Antoine shakes his head, disgusted. "Forbidden. It is a child's fantasy. We wait for the Allies." Luke looks at the mirror shard. Then he looks at Sophie. He does not need Antoine's permission. He only needs the sun. The plan requires a new location. The cellar is compromised by Antoine's refusal, and the attic OP is purely for observation, not action. The ambush location must be perfect. It must be a fatal funnel, a place easy to enter, difficult to observe from the outside, and offering a clean line of sight for the shooter. Luke and Sophie spend the next 6 hours moving through the network of attics and bombed-out apartments. They find it 3 blocks north. The fifth-floor apartment of a musician who fled in 1940. The building overlooks a narrow service alley, the Impasse de la Vierge. It is a dead end. The apartment itself is a wreck of plaster dust and shattered furniture, but a corner window provides a perfect 400-meter oblique angle on the Kommandantur annex. Critically, it also has a clear view of the impasse. Sophie is the new ally. While Luke is the lure, she is the trigger. She is 28, and where Luke is introspective and quiet, she is fiery and pragmatic. She had been a physics student at the Sorbonne before the war. She understands angles and trajectory. She carries the cell's most valuable weapon, a captured German Karabiner 98Ks, fitted with a Zilfenrohr 4Z, ZER-4 scope. It is an excellent piece of equipment, and she has practiced with it relentlessly in the catacombs. She is the sniper, Luke is the spotter, or rather, he is the signals man. They are a 2-person team operating outside the command structure. They prepare the hide. They don't build a prototype. They simply deploy their single brilliant tool. Luke sets up by the window, his piece of broken mirror resting on a dusty copy of Don Quixote. He has studied the light. At 14:00, the August sun is high and to the west, striking the Kommandantur facade directly. His flash from the north will be sharp, visible, and appear to come from a plausible, friendly position, a German-held rooftop 2 streets over. Sophie sets up 20 feet back from another window. Deep in the shadows of the room, her rifle rests on a pile of mouldering books. She aims not at the Kommandantur, but at a specific spot on the cobblestones in the Impasse de la Vierge, a chalk mark she made earlier, the X. The tension is unbearable. The air in the apartment is hot, thick with the smell of decay and old plaster. They communicate in whispers. Range is 310 meters to the alley, she murmurs, adjusting the scope's elevation drum. Wind is negligible. A ghost. Luke just nods, his eyes on the target building. He practices the motion with his hand, the small, sharp flick of the wrist needed to send the beam of light across the square. He is no longer a watchmaker. He is a spider, placing the final shimmering thread of his web. They wait. They are 2 shadows in a ruined room, about to use a piece of trash to challenge a fortress. It is 14:03. The operation begins. Luke sees him. A junior lieutenant, young, arrogant, steps out of the Kommandantur side entrance. He's smoking a cigarette, clearly annoyed by the heat. He is not the target, but he is the test. Target acquired, Luke whispers. Stand by. Luke holds the mirror shard. His hand is rock steady. He angles it, catches the brilliant white sunlight, and aims the reflection at the lieutenant's face. Flash, flash, pause, flash. The code for move to secondary point. Urgent. The lieutenant flinches, annoyed by the light. He looks up, shielding his eyes. He glares in the general direction of the flash. Luke's heart hammers. He's been seen. It's over. The lieutenant takes a drag from his cigarette, turns and begins to walk back inside. A failed test, but Luke is patient. He waits. The lieutenant stops, hesitates. He clearly recognizes the code. He glances back, annoyed but dutiful. He looks at the source of the flash, a rooftop he knows is held by his own troops. He sighs, exasperated, crushes his cigarette under his boot, and turns. walking briskly toward the Impasse de la Vierge. "He's moving," Luke breathes. "He's on the path." The lieutenant walks with the confidence of an occupier, his pistol holstered. He enters the narrow mouth of the alley. Sophie's breathing is low and even. She tracks him. He crosses the chalk mark. Sight, start. Sophie's rifle cracks. A single, sharp report that echoes once and is lost in the ambient noise of the restless city. Sight, 3. The lieutenant collapses. Sight, start. He does not move. Sight, 15. He has vanished from the street. In the apartment, Luke and Sophie stare at each other. The silence is profound. Shock, awe, disbelief. It worked. The system is flawed. The fortress is breached. Luke takes a breath, his eyes already scanning the commandantur door for the next target. If stories like this fascinate you, stay with us. The next chapter of wartime innovation might surprise you. They return to the cellar under cover of the 19:00 curfew. The air is electric. The uprising has begun in other arrondissements. Barricades are going up. The atmosphere in their own sector is still one of dread. Antoine is waiting for them. His face is granite. "A lieutenant from the commandantur is missing," he states. It is not a question. The Germans have been searching the adjacent blocks, their patrols aggressive, questioning civilians. They think he deserted or was taken by a patrol. Sophie, buzzing with adrenaline, speaks first. Sight, start. He was neutralized. Mon capitaine. Sight, 3. Antoine's eyes narrow to slits. "You... what?" Luke steps forward. Sight, start. It worked. The signal. He walked right to us. Sight, 5. The impact of the words lands. Antoine's fury is cold, not hot. "You fools, you compromised this entire sector. You fired a rifle 300 meters from a German barracks for one officer. You brought the hornet's nest down on us for a single stupid trophy." He gestures to the radio set. "I have to report this. We'll be pulled. We'll be lucky if we aren't shot by our own side for this." "It wasn't for one," Luke says. His voice is not loud, but it cuts through Antoine's anger. It is the voice of the horloger, the man of precision. It was for the system. They aren't looking for a sniper. They are looking for a deserter. They don't know what happened. They have no idea they were compromised. They don't suspect their own signals. He taps the map. "We can do it again, tomorrow. We don't take a lieutenant. We take the Hauptmann who signaled this morning. Then we take the signals officer himself. Then the major in charge of the mortars." Luke's eyes are burning. "We don't just harass them, Antoine. We dismantle them. We can remove the entire command structure one by one before they even know they are under attack. They will be a body with no head." The intellectual clash hangs in the damp air. Antoine, the old-world soldier, sees only the risk of a single rifle shot. Luke, the new-world tactician, sees the vulnerability of a complex system. Sophie supports her brother. He's right. They are arrogant. Their trust in their own procedure is the weapon. We didn't pull the trigger. They did, the moment they decided to trust a flash of light. Antoine looks at the map, at the red circles representing impossible targets. He sees the X Luke has drawn for the Impasse de la Vierge. He looks at the cheap, broken piece of mirror Luke places on the table. It is a clash between two generations of warfare. Finally, Antoine nods, his face grim. "Tomorrow, 14:00, you take the Hauptmann. If you fail, if they bring the mortars, I will not protect you." The commandantur is now the battlefield. This is not a test, it is a campaign. The morning of August 20th is spent in preparation. The FFI, emboldened by the general uprising, creates a diversion. A barricade goes up 4 streets away, drawing the attention of the German patrols. This is the noise Luke needs to cover the signal. At 13:50, Luke and Sophie are back in the musician's apartment. The air is hotter today, the sky a hazy, oppressive grey. The tension from yesterday is gone, replaced by a cold, professional focus. Sophie calibrates her scope. Luke studies the light, angles his mirror. 14:15, the Hauptmann. He exits the building precisely as he did yesterday. Luke flashes the signal. Flash, flash, pause, flash. The Hauptmann is wary. The missing lieutenant has made him cautious. He scans the rooftops. He signals back. Flash, pause, flash. Identify. Luke's hand does not tremble. He flashes the correct countersign. When he and Sophie observed a signals team using flash, flash, Freund, friendly. The Hauptmann hesitates, then nods. He too begins the walk, but he is not alone. He brings a corporal, an Unterscharführer, as an escort. 2 targets, Sophie whispers. I take the officer. You must be ready for the second. She doesn't have a second rifle. She means with her pistol if he charges. No, Luke says. Wait. The Hauptmann enters the alley. Sophie's rifle fires. Sight, start, he is neutralized. Sight, 3, the corporal dives, pulling his own rifle up, shouting. Sophie works the bolt, a smooth, practiced shk, shk, and fires again. Sight, start, the alley is silent. Sight, 3, panic begins at the Kommandantur. 2 officers and an NCO have vanished in 24 hours from the same area. They send a 3-man signals team to the rooftop the Hauptmann was looking at. They believe their own signals man is a traitor. This is the moment Luke was waiting for. From his new position, a different window in the same apartment, he flashes the actual all-clear signal. Flash, pause. Flash, flash, to the Kommandantur just door. A major, the battalion adjutant, sees the all-clear from his own signals team's supposed position. Believing the area secure, he steps out to coordinate the search. Luke flashes the move to secondary code. The major, believing the order is coming from his search team, walks directly into the impasse. Sophie's rifle cracks again. Over the next 48 hours, the broken mirror signal is used 9 more times. Each time, Luke uses a slightly different position, a slightly different code, exploiting the confusion he himself has created. The Germans are in disarray. They believe they have a ring of traitors, or that FFI squads are somehow infiltrating their walls. They never suspect the silent, innocuous flash of light. An FFI after-action report, filed on August 23rd, quantifies the impact, though it misidentifies the cause. German command structure at Kommandantur 7BE appears to have collapsed prior to the main FFI assault on the 22nd. A total of 18 ranking officers and key signals personnel were reported MIA or confirmed neutralized by unknown sniper activity in the 72 hours preceding the assault. German response was disorganized, uncoordinated, and ineffective. When Antoine's FFI unit finally stormed the building, they met only terrified conscripts who surrendered immediately. The brain of the defense was gone. Antoine found Luke cleaning the 98K. He didn't say a word. He simply placed a captured box of 7 92mm ammunition on the table. It was the highest form of recognition. The immediate consequences of the broken mirror signal are profound and localized. The collapse of Kommandantur 7B allows the FFI Sector 7 to seize control of the Pont Saint-Michel and the Pont au Change with minimal casualties. These bridges are vital arteries. Their capture prevents German demolition teams from destroying them, preserving a key route for General Leclerc's 2nd Armored Division, which would enter the city days later. The vanishing of 18 officers, while a minor footnote in the grand scale of the liberation, is a decisive tactical victory. It is a perfect example of asymmetric warfare, where intelligence and ingenuity proved more effective than armor. In the long term, the tactic itself is never formalized. It is not adopted into any military field manual. It remains what it was, an act of specific, situational genius born of a watchmaker's mind. The official histories credit the FFI's general uprising and the arrival of the Allies for the sector's capture. The broken mirror becomes a legend, whispered among the veterans of Sector 7, the ghosts of the impasse, the officers who were swallowed by the city. The principle, however, endures. The idea of spoofing, of impersonating a friendly signal to manipulate an enemy's systems, becomes a cornerstone of modern special operations and electronic warfare. Luc Girard's broken piece of glass is the direct ancestor of the faked radio transmissions and man-in-the-middle cyber attacks of the 21st century. Luc Girard himself fades back into the anonymity from which he came. He reopens Girard et Fils, Horloger, in the spring of 1945. He receives a simple commendation from the FFI, which he keeps in a drawer beneath his lens-grinding tools. He never speaks of those 72 hours. His customers, bringing him their broken clocks and spectacles, see only a quiet, meticulous man whose hands are impossibly steady. They do not see the man who used a sunbeam as a weapon, who dismantled a German command structure from a dusty attic. He lives out his life in the 6th arrondissement, a humble craftsman, a forgotten hero, dying of natural causes in 1988. He is a testament to the thousands of shadows whose quiet, brilliant acts of defiance were the true foundation of the victory. The past is never truly past. It simply changes its form. Today, the broken mirror signal is not a piece of glass. It is a line of malicious code in a trusted software update. It is a spoofed email from a superior officer. It is a deep-faked voice command that directs a drone or moves a financial asset. The tools of deception have evolved, but the principle Luc Girard exploited remains unchanged. The most effective weapon is not the one that explodes, but the one that uses an enemy's own trust against them. The battlefield has shifted from physical strongpoints to digital networks, from commandantures to servers. But the hunt for the flaw in the system is the same. Luc's tactic was not just about sniping, it was about information warfare. This single act of defiance serves as a universal truth. Innovation is often mistaken for invention, the creation of something new. But true, disruptive innovation is often just the application of something old in a new way. Luc did not invent the mirror, or the sun, or the signal code. He simply connected them in a way his enemy deemed impossible. He found the grain of dust in the German war machine, their arrogance, their rigidity, and their blind faith in procedure. The greatest breakthroughs do not always come from generals and engineers, but from the quiet observers, the watchmakers, who see the world on a different frequency. The attic on the Rue de Vaugirard is a luxury apartment now. The sun still strikes the walls of the old Kommandantur at 14. Rue Zero. Seat, start, the Impasse de la Vierge. Once a fatal funnel is a quiet service entrance for a cafe. Its cobblestones silent witnesses to the day a watchmaker used a ray of light to reclaim his city. Cite. 3. True courage is not always the charge against the machine gun. Sometimes it is the patience to find the single, flawed gear that will bring the entire machine to a halt. Every great idea begins as an act of defiance against impossibility. What impossible ideas do you think could change the world?